Hello there, YouTube, and welcome to Sunday the 16th of November. So I didn't realize, because I wasn't paying attention, I realized here, I don't know, about half an hour ago, today is year 10. I've done a vlog every single day for 10 years. Today is 3,654, I think is what I think that's today's vlog number. Meathead here wants to go for a walk, but I need to do a leak down test on this thing because my son says, "Pop," he goes, "that is an interference motor." He goes, you need to check that thing." So he goes, "It usually takes the exhaust valves out, and despite the clearance being fine," he goes, "you need to do a leak down on it." So I'm gonna I'll just take my little small compressor out here and just get it set and just do each one. I mean, I don't think I have an extension. I do have an extension cord, but Cal and I can't find it. Big long son of a gun, can't find it. So because I got a outlet right there on the building, but I'm gonna do that right quick. Maybe take her for a night walk or something. But I need to know where this thing's at. So we're gonna do that first. Hook up my little DeWalt light. That thing, what a cool light. And anyway, let's dive into her. Unfortunately, I checked the first cylinder, which is number 1 here, which the valves seem fine. Clearance wise, it 40% leak down. And it sounds just like Ryan said, it sounds like it's whizzing out the exhaust. What a mess. What a mess. Well, not much. Well, I'll check one more just to see. Bummer. Well, sorry to jump in the middle of the vlog here with this out of sequence clip, but after I did the leak down test on that number 1 cylinder, I went back through and I did number 2 and then number 4. Couldn't do number 3 because that spark plug's about to break off in there. Then I was talking about the XR, and we went out there and did that. So the clip, said I was going to do another one, ended up doing the rest of them. And then I talked about some stuff. I think what I did, these things have the ability of, while you're recording, to hit the power button, and you have an option to erase that clip. Like if you're doing a clip and everything's going just like way wrong, you're going, yeah, I'm just going to scratch this thing, hit the power button, and you can just delete that thing, just make it go away. You don't have to go finding it later and go, hey, there's that clip I messed up on, and you go find that. Well, I think that's what I did, because the screen, I was looking at the screen, I go, why is that screen still lit? And it was saying something, that was showing an arrow pointing at the power button and an arrow pointing at the record button. So I just pushed and held the power button until it booted itself down. Well, what I did, I think I just, well, I know what I did. I erased that clip. Got Saucer sitting out here, meathead. We had chicken tonight, and she goes buck wily. You've never seen a dog freak out over chicken like this dog does. She just sits here, just looks out there, waiting for them cats to come along. But anyway, sorry for the out of sequence one. Yeah, the number 2 was at 50% leak down. Number 4 is at 50% leak down. She's a goner. So anyway, I'm leaving, discussing the car, and going to the fork tubes now. This was hours ago, so apologize. I mess up with these things every once in a while. So any of you guys with, shoe brakes or cable front brakes or cable clutches, don't have your adjuster. I pulled the adjuster back to back it off, to have enough slack to pop the cable and stuff out. Well, the adjuster is all the way at the end. It wasn't even screwed in. I've never messed with it. The brakes were always fine, so I never touched it. But anyway, the top of the fork is held on with a bolt, and then you slide the fork unless you got a fork clamp for doing suspension at home, which I don't. 22 millimeters takes this thing loose, but you use your lower tree as your clamp. Now the trick with this is that fork, that spring is under pressure, but as easy as that bolt's turning, it shouldn't go too far. But you got to be mindful when it gets to the end. What I've done is just slid it down and clamped it. Is when it gets towards the top, it's dong, some spring pressure is going to be there, but I'm assuming pretty light. So anyway, pull that out, slide the fork out, and actually it's loose enough I can do it with the fork out of it. And because does that have access all the way down? Probably does have access all the way in. So if you had it upside down, I don't know if that thing's hollow or not. I would think not, because if you're upside down, that's, it's not like sealed up, like with sealing washers or anything. Oil could come out the top. But I should probably stop here and give that fork a cleaning, because you don't want to introduce any. I just want to take old oil out. I don't want to take a bunch of dirt out. So I'll do that. I'll just pull the fork out and I'll just do it by hand. That way, if it does spring, my hand's not going to come up and whack the upper tree and gouge me, So get some contact cleaner and wipe that fork down real good, and we'll go from there. Let's see, that O'Reilly's brake parts cleaner stuff, that works pretty good. Somebody's riding this thing on the road at some point. It's got like tar spots on it. Some black things. I just did a quite quick wipe down. So I'm going to slide this thing off. And another thing too, I'll show you underneath if you can see that. There's an Allen bolt that holds the tube down, that with that spring out. I like to hit those things with a electric nowadays, but air gun, boom, and zip them out, because you can get them loose and they'll spin on you, and when they spin, you're stuck. It can really be a problem. There's a Honda, and most people have a tool that goes down and can click into that, but some of them in the old days, they literally had nothing. So what we would do is have someone pull the fork, grab both pieces and pull as hard as they could, but somebody else took the air gun and zing, zing, zoom, and zap that thing out. There's a copper sealing washer that's underneath here too that you should replace, but if something like this, some good old, make sure everything's dry when you go back together, and something like that Yamabon 6B. Danny wanted out, so I let him out, and I come walking back over here, and I hear something. I'm like, the heck is that? So I walk out, and then I hear chomp, chomp, chomp. I hear footsteps coming across the gravel out there. It gave me a heart attack. It wasn't the four-legged type footstep sounds. It was Kelly. She was out feeding the cats. I go, oh, that's why Danny's sitting over there nice and peaceful, and all of a sudden he wanted out. He'll probably come out here and scratch on the door again here for too long. I need to go grab me a drain pan, because it will release oil when I zap that bolt out, and that won't take any tension off of the spring. That has no difference whatsoever, because it's still on the tube at the bottom. The one that controls all the dampening. It's got different size holes, and it's the dampening rod, is it? Some people refer to them as. Them brakes were pretty dirty. And that's the original tire on this thing. I should probably look at getting a better tire. I got a good tire on the back that hooks up good, but I don't want to spend any money right now. I have a feeling things are going to get scary before they get better. We got Christmas coming up and everything else. But anyway, let's move forward. So before you go yard arming all this stuff apart on you, get some quad aught steel wool, some PB blaster. By the way, shake the can. Directions. Hey, shake the can. I see people use this all the time and don't shake the can. But anyway, go ahead and use like a plastic tool like this and pop that dust seal. And then I used this little thing I got from the Cornwall guy. It was a freebie thing. And get your snap ring out of there. You want to have all that ready. Make sure there's not a whole bunch of gunk in there. If it's oil, that's fine. Because once we release this bolt here, 6mm, I got her on a gun. And what I'll do is I'll grab this thing and I'll hold some pressure on it where I'm pulling the fork tube away from the fork lower. Just kind of give it this little squeeze and put her over the bucket. I can't do it because I've got the camera in one hand and I need two hands to do this. But anyway, just zap that thing off. So what you do with steel wool, I notice there's a couple of little rust specks and any dirt or whatever. You want that tube to be absolutely free of any kind of nicks or anything, because you have to slide that seal over this tube when you go back on. So needless to say, that tube needs to be clean. I'm telling you, some Quad Zero steel wool and PB blast, and she's like brand new, and there's no nicks and no weird wears in it anywhere telling me that, you know, bushings are damaged and the fork's wore out. So whatever oil it's leaked hasn't totaled it out yet. But anyway, let me zap this lower bolt off, and it's like a slide hammer. Once that's loose, you just dang whack, and it'll pop the seal out. You're gonna take the tube from the housing, and you're just gonna slide hammer it once this bolt is out, and the upper bushing will try to come up with the fork, and the seal's got to get out of the way for it to come out. So it slide hammers the fork out of it. And hopefully I don't make a mess doing this, because sometimes it can. This thing's small, but you know, small packages can be the worst. Alrighty. Well, even though this bike is 23 years old, must be considered quite budget. There is no bushings in the fork. There should be a bushing both on the fork and then one in the upper fork, and the lower bushing hits the upper bushing, and the upper bushing drives the seal out. Well, I can tell you now, I don't have to worry about a driver for the seal, because I can just find a socket or something that size and just drive it straight in, because the seal doesn't come out with the tube. You do the whole slide hammer thing. What amazes me is, what was it holding on to? I think it was the damping rod stuck in that lower, there's no way you can see it, stuck in that lower collar that's always down there, because it had a springy feel to it instead of a solid feel. So boom, 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 and the thing came apart. But that's your damping rod there. And there's your top out spring. So if it tops out, it goes against that spring. And this, of course, is the spring for ride height and whatever. I don't know if I have a seal driver small enough to get that thing out. Or a puller. I've got a puller, but you got to be careful with them pullers, because a lot of those things have a hook. And if you scratch the inside of this bore, when you put the seal back in there, the oil is going to leak where that scratch is. So now you're dealing with, you know, putting silicone around there to try to seal the, you know, make sure that seals up. But yeah, very simple setup. Crazy simple setup. Crazy. Well, that was interesting. Combination of a seal puller tool. What I was doing, I was getting the hook of the tool to lip underneath the bottom of the seal and ride against the steel outside of it. So I didn't take a chance of scratching the bore in here. But that thing was stuck. I'd used some of that steel wool and cleaned the inside of the seal area. It had oxidized against the fork. But got everything cleaned and dried out. Washed it out really good with that brake cleaner. Oh, I left the can over there and blew everything out so it's nice and clean. So cleaning the upper fork, as it turns out, the seal is not gonna ride all the way down the fork. I'm gonna mount the seal in here first. So a 1 1/8 inch Craftsman socket with an extension put in there backwards. So you got a nice driving area. Fits in there absolutely perfect. Slight bit of slack, that's what you want. You don't want your tool to get stuck. So I've showed you this stuff before. Suzuki, it's called Suzuki Super Grace C. I put that on the inside of the new seal. I coat that with that, and fork seals last forever. I've been using that stuff for eons, but I haven't been. The last time I did a set of fork seals, geez, well, I did them on BMWs, and the BMW has their own oil in there, and I just stick their stuff. They're pre-oiled. If they're not, like these, I mean, they have a coating on them of some sort, but there's no oil in it. You know, most people say just wet them down with some fork oil, which if you have nothing, that's what you want to use. But I wet the inside of the seal with that super grease. It's weird looking stuff. So I'm gonna open this thing up right quick. I showed you this when I was doing stuff on the RC cars. This weird, funky stuff. It has a weird smell. It smells like something old. It smells like grease from a really old car is what it smells like. Ooh, any junk in there. Yeah, deposits of stuff there. But anyway, I coat the inside of the seal before I do the fork tube. And I end up putting a little too much. Oh, you know, I did the BMW S1000 XRs, RRs, Rs, the ones I've done fork seals on. I have to remind them about wiping that seal off because I put that grease on there and it leaves tracks almost like the fork seal's leaking, but it's not. I tell them just wipe it off with a microfiber or just a simple shop cloth. Just wipe it off. Don't use any brake cleaner or anything like that on it. Big no-no. So they'll take them little lips, make them little lips of that seal, make them vibrate across there. And when it does that, it takes the sharpness off of them, and instantly you got a leaking fork seal. So let me clean some things up. There's my brass washer. I retrieved that out of the bottom of the fork lower. Clean all that up. Need me some Yamabond 6B to put on that. And oh, before you take that bolt out, you know, it's a 6mm Allen. It's a dirt bike. It's been in the dirt. And make sure that the hole, that Allen hole, is clear. Because there's nothing worse than putting your 6mm socket on there and not having a full bite. You round that screw off in this fork, and you got troubles at a whole nother level. But anyway, let's just kind of clean some things up. I'll spray off those springs and stuff so that they're all fresh. I don't want any of the old oil in there. We're going to start off anew. So have a brake cleaner, contact cleaner, clean those things off, and have a blower handy and blow it all off. There you go. All right, there's the fork. There's 2.5 ounces or 73.5 milliliters, whatever it works out to be, or cc's. And it has a height too that I can measure the height. So the fork collapsed. I'm looking and not pointing the camera. Should be 135 milliliter fluid level. So I will check that, and maybe I'll bump that just a little bit because it seems to be me riding it more than anybody else. Give her a little more damping up front. But you can't go too far because there's not a lot of room to mess with here. So let me top this thing off, and we'll go from there. So if you have the specs for the level of the fork oil, that is what you want to use. You cycle the fork a few times and you set it to the level that it's asking for, because 2.5 ounces does not equal 135 millimeters from the fork. So what you do, you cycle it. At first, you know, it was actually a little over, but you got to cycle the fork a few times, let the air bubbles settle, which it does almost right away. Fork oil is designed to do that. But anyway, cycle it. Yeah, it was probably 145 millimeters. So I had to add more to it. So I set the thing a little higher, which would be less distance. So I set it to 130 millimeters, which that doesn't sound like much, but you're talking a very small volume of a fork there. But it's 20 minutes till 9, so I'm just gonna throw all my stuff in my little Craftsman bag. That's pretty cool. Remember they used to do that, just like you go into Home Depot and everything else. They got all their little bags. So I'll just gather up my junk here and scoot this thing back a little bit so we don't trip over it coming and going out of the car tomorrow. And so I'll just leave all the tools out. Well, I'll just throw them in the bag, but I'll leave everything out that I used, because I'll need to do the same thing over with the left side. The fork feels nice and smooth, and I know the seals are going to work, and yeah, it'll be nice. And I'll adjust the brakes at the drum. So if your adjuster ever comes out that far, you need to adjust it down at the other source. Either the cable itself will have an adjustment, like, you know, midway, like a cable adjuster. This one has an adjuster down at the brake hub, the backing plate, and that's take the adjustment. Just have a little bit up there. That thing was sitting out so far that I just never noticed it. So you got an adjustment right there. I think it's out quite a bit too. So I should probably look at the specs of those shoes. The shoes are probably wore out. That may be the end of the adjustment. Is it at the end? It may need shoes. No, it's got some adjustment left. But it ain't much. Because that boot goes over the end of the cable. What drives me nuts about shoes, unlike cars, when a motorcycle brakes get to a point that they need to be replaced, there's tons of shoe left on there, or pad on the shoe. But anyway, let me get this thing cleaned up, give the mama do a goodbye. It's getting pretty close to I need to start building the vlog so I can get up and hopefully have something to do tomorrow. Ooh, my block's just about to fall out of there. That's kind of sketchy. Yeah, that's not secure at all. Oh boy. But anyway, appreciate you guys listening to me rattle on today. We're gonna conclude this part anyway. We'll do the quick goodbye and we'll be out. All right. Well, hello there, YouTube. The rain started since I talked to you last and come up. Actually, I forgot my camera that I was recording with. I had to go back out to the shop and grab it, and it started raining on the way back, and it hasn't stopped. Mama's been just...
I got dusty glasses.
Yeah, she's going crazy cleaning stuff, organizing all her craft stuff, and she's been a little worker bee today.
Been busy.
Yeah. But anyway, kind of bummer news about the Civic.
Yeah, that totally blows. I don't know what we're gonna do.
Yeah, that's a big deal. And anyway, Nat, poor Sasha, she didn't get to go on a walk. I could have taken her. It wasn't raining. I was just trying to get too many things done. And the one thing I wanted to do over the weekend was to mess with the forks, and as it turns out, I only got one of the two done. At least that one's not leaking. I got desperate, just throw the front wheel and axle back on right the way it is. But Should always do them as a set.
Yeah.
But anyhow, I think on that, we're going to bounce.
Alrighty, well, thank you guys so much for watching. We really do appreciate it. We will talk to you tomorrow. Same Smoak time, same Smoak channel. Don't forget to give a thumbs up. And you guys have an amazing Monday or Tuesday.
Heck yeah. Alrighty.
And we will see you tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll see you in the morning.
Yep.
Crack a dark.
Crack a dark.
All right, we see you then now. Bye-bye.